Cool. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Living Lam Rim. We are blessed today to be joined by the most honorable, venerable Utpala. She has graciously agreed to join us today and guide us in the translation and discussion of, what's the name of our book in Tibetan? Upala's going to fire you all if you don't know. I'm going to fire you all.
Lam Rim Chemo.
Oh, I wish we were translating the Lam Rim Chemo, but we're not.
That would be hard.
Namdro Lakchang. Liberation thrust into the palm of your hand. And without further ado, I'm going to send this over to Venerable Upala. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Tim. So I see there's a few people here. So first, I just want to thank you for your interest in learning Tibetan and learning how to translate into English and hopefully into your language too, because I see there are very competent live translators who are translating from the English into your language. So we've got a lot of translating going on, and I just think that's fantastic. So thank you to the live translators. Thank you to you for your interest. And thank you for the techies without whom none of this would be possible. So you've been going through translating what is basically Trijang Rinpoche's most excellent notes of a teaching that Bongka Rinpoche gave in 1921 called Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand, thrust into the palm of your hand. And Geshe Michael, when he started the entire Lam Rim series, started with day 21 of Bongka Rinpoche's teachings, right? Meditation. And I was fortunate to be there in Phoenix for those teachings. And it was the month before going into 3-year retreat. So for me, it was the perfect teaching to receive, some 30-some days before going into retreat, a perfect gift from my teacher. So these teachings have a very special place in my heart, and I'm really happy to be here to review them with you right now. So thank you for giving me that opportunity. You may know that the authors of texts in the old days were very fond of organizing the teaching or their books into lists. And their lists have like amazing hierarchies to them, right? So he started off the meditation teaching talking about, okay, there are 6 steps to learning how to meditate. And Tim has been starting with the first of those 6, which are, can anyone tell me? The conditions you need to even get ready to meditate. So the things you have to do before you even sit down, basically. And how many of conditions are there? Does anyone remember? 6. Yes, thank you, Persis. And Tim just about finished covering the first of the 6. And what is that first one? Well, a safe place is one of the parts of the 6th. So in general, it's a place that's conducive to meditation, what supports your meditation. And that has how many parts? Does anyone remember? 5. Thank you, Kristen. So the stuff you need should be easy to find. The place should be a perfect place. The location should be a perfect location. You should have perfect companions, and you should have everything you need, all the required articles for meditation. So we'll finish up the 5th part today, and then we'll see how far we get into the rest of the conditions that you need before you even start meditating. So last week, Tim talked about how we first need to get all the teachings and empowerments we need before we start a retreat or we start a meditation session. We need to have contemplated on those teachings. We need to have gotten advices about how to practice the teachings. And then he shared this rather famous, but maybe it's infamous, story by Ken Rinpoche. Geshe Michael told us, about that hapless citizen soldier who was going to protect his country from invaders, and he shot where he should have pooped, and he pooped where he should have shot. And that's where we left off. So we don't have much to finish up the 5th. So let me get my screen there. Do you see the text? Thumbs up, I'm seeing. That's good. Can you read it? Is it large enough size to read? Yeah?
Yes, very good for it.
Okay, great. So I don't know who's in the room, so to speak. Oh, wait. Saying in the room reminded me, what I'd like to do is for us to just take like a minute and just bring ourselves into the room. I know it's very distracting to be on a Zoom call. There's all these images going on. It's very busy. We're sitting at a desk or we've got a phone in our hand. So let's just bring ourselves into this space that we've created to be together to talk about these teachings and to talk about translation. Let go of breakfast or dinner or lunch. Let go of exterior sounds. Just hone in your focus into our space. And bring to mind why you came here today. What's your purpose in learning how to translate? Just have that be very clear in your mind. Make it as big as you can, as powerful as you can. Oh, great. That's exciting. Thank you. So we just have a couple of stanzas here to finish up the 5th. So let's read this one here. And since I don't know who's in the room, as I was saying a while ago, I would love it if someone would volunteer to read. So that Marina doesn't have to, unless she wants to.
Can I try it?
Yes, please, Persis. Thank you.
Choponi yam leki na la ma pa wei ye pani
Yin.
yin
Say the word yellow. Yellow.
yellow
Yellow. It has a very strong Y sound, yellow. So
Yellow.
keep that Y in mind when you say yin,
Yin.
yin. Yeah, very good. And when there's an A at the end of, I'm sorry, that's an S, Utpala. When there's an S at the end of a word that's preceded by a vowel, you stretch that out a little bit. So it would be nay,
Nay.
A, and K,
K.
because there are other words spelled differently that have the same kind of sound. And so we stretch it out a little bit so we can distinguish between the words when we hear them. So the first thing that I like to do when I'm looking at starting to translate what's before me, I look for some keys in what I've got. So my first key here is this word, ni. And that word usually, not always, but usually indicates what the subject of the sentence is. So I'll be able to remember, okay, this is probably the subject because it's got this ni here. And then the next thing I look for is a verb. Yin. So I've got, and I know that that means is, right? So I know that like soul is something. So does anyone know what soul is? What it means in English? Soul is here the main point. So remember, we're finishing up our discussion of the fifth of the conducive circumstances to meditation, to a place for meditation. So here's the main point of what Pabonkar Rinpoche is telling us. So then I look at what is this is pointing back to. And it's pointing back to Kepar Chepa. Kepar Chepa. And that means to become learned. And what are we becoming learned in? In Nyam Len Ki Ne. And this law is an in. That was another indicator for me. That's linking together this phrase with this phrase. So what are we becoming learned in? Nam Len Ki Ne. The experience of spiritual practice. So putting it all together, it's the main point is to become skilled in your spiritual practice. Would someone like to volunteer to read this slightly longer couple of sentences? Let's see. Who do I have?
Can I read?
Yes, please.
Teng sang tsoa sok tso wor dra trikne nyamsu lang che new de yin mi shepar u tukte mo
Is a
depko
very heavy prenasal.
mondap,
mondep,
mondap. Ko,
ge,
kopa sok, nang mo, detar mi chepar nyamsu, lang che, chula, tra, trik, lekpar che, ko.
ge, ge. That sa changes the sound of the pronunciation of the naro. Ge. And because it's got that sa at the end, that S, we stretch it out. Ge. So we've got some great vocabulary words in this section that you may not yet be familiar with. But first let's look at our indicators. Let's see. We have a nay here that's sometimes used to connect phrases together. We've got a te, and that's usually something like a semicolon or a comma or something to separate thoughts. What else do we have here? Then we have our verb. Je, ge. It's like we must do something. So there's a lot of other words we got to unpack. So we've got densang, which may be a new word for you. And that means nowadays or these days. So remember, Pabongkar Rinpoche is talking to this huge audience of monks. So then we've got Sowat Sok. Does anyone know what Sowa means? Sowa means food. And sok, oops, sok means, does anyone know? It means like, and the rest, or very good. Thank you, Tim. So food and the rest. Oh, and then we've got this word again. In the last sentence, what did it mean? Yeah, the main point. And so it can be translated differently, usually with a ra suffix, an R at the end of the word. That's going to change what grammatically, what kind of word it is. So here, so war means mainly. So, okay, we got food. These days, there's something about food and the rest of that kind of thing. Mainly, okay, that's interesting. Dra, drik, nay. So here, our nay, rather than acting like from or something like that, it's actually turning this word into a gerund, an action word. So draw, drik means prepared or arranged. And when you add the nay after it, it turns it into preparing or arranging. Okay, so we're mainly arranging. Okay, that's interesting. Nyamsu lang is practice. And that's a phrase you're going to see a lot. Nyamsu lang. Ja is an action verb. Or it could mean something like you should do something, or it could be about activity. So it just depends in context how you translate it. Mu is, does anyone know? This is one we see a lot in the mixed nuts books that we're translating. Oh, and that's a different word, tin. Here, with this spelling, it means real or explicit. Didion, I'm thinking is some sort of like term of art that maybe in colloquial language it means something in particular, but literally it means that is this. So we don't know. We'll just like hold that one lightly while we figure out the rest of the words and how they would fit together. Do you know the word shepa? Shepa? Understand, right? Thank you. Or knowing. And so when we've got this word in front of it, it means we're not understanding or not knowing. Utuk, that is probably a new word for you. And that means like helpless or desperate. Geshe Michael used the word lame. Okay, so we've got our first little piece here. Putting it together. So these days, these people are primarily concerned about preparing their like basic necessities like food and so on. They are helpless and they don't even know what they need to practice. So by spending so much attention on like making sure that you've got your food, you've got enough food and you've got enough warm clothing and all that sort of thing, they don't even know what they're supposed to meditate on. So because they're in this sort of helpless state, utukte, we go on to this next what's going on because they're in this helpless state. So modet may be a new word for you, and it's going to occur later as well. Does anyone happen to know what that means? I don't think we see it much these days, unless you like go to a fortune teller or something. But it's a divination. And Gurpa, they feel that they really need a divination. And I think with this Nong Me, it's like it's this because they're so desperate, they don't know what to do. They have this strong feeling that they need to go to their teacher and ask them for a divination, to throw the dice or throw the tarot cards or whatever form they use to say, oh, you should meditate on this, when they have been taught all along about what to meditate on. But unfortunately, they were so concerned with getting enough food that they weren't thinking very clearly. So what is it we must do? Datar is like that, but it's michepar, not like that. So we should not be like that. And Namsu Lang Ja, we just had that one. Does anyone remember? practice. And what kind of practice? Dharma practice. And we had this drink right up here, if you remember. What were they doing? They were preparing, right? They were preparing their food and such. And here, what we should be doing is preparing with our Dharma practice. That's what we must be doing. And Lekpar is, we have to do it carefully, thoroughly. We have to do it well. So all together, so these days people are primarily concerned with their basic necessities, and they're helpless. They don't know what to do. And they're so helpless, they feel like the only thing that will help them is if their teacher does a divination for them. But really, without doing anything like that, we can act to thoroughly prepare ourselves in our Dharma practice. So we have to be trained in meditation. We have to know how to meditate. We have to know what to meditate on. We should be becoming master meditators. That should be our focus, not food. So that ends the 5. So before we go on, if someone, we just had it, but if someone could either in the chat or aloud, say what the 5 are. The stuff you need should be easy to find, right? Dharma practice, that was in the, that was a subcomponent within the 5th one, Persis. So we're going back to cover the 5. Companions, the perfect companions, that's one of them. That's the 4th one. There were 2 that were sort of similar, right? There's the perfect place and the perfect location. Does anyone remember what the perfect place is? How it's distinct from the perfect location? Right, should be quiet. So like the perfect place would be a place where people have been doing, practicing deep meditation already. Like it's very quiet. There's something about when we do this kind of deep practice, it has an effect on the place itself. So you can go there and you can feel the peace and calm because of people's previous practice. And then location would be, yeah, it's not too hot. There's not a lot of wild, dangerous animals running around. It's not too cold. Or if it is too hot or too cold, you have a way to keep cool or keep warm, depending. And then your perfect companions, and then everything you need for meditation. So there's a question here about divination was translated as not knowing what they need to practice. No, a divination would be, I mean, because they don't know what they need to practice, because they have no idea, because they weren't really paying attention in class, and they didn't think about it afterwards. They were more concerned with food. They got nervous because they're about to go into a retreat and they don't know what to do. So they go and they ask their teacher, could you please throw the tarot cards? And what do the tarot cards tell me about what I should do to meditate on? Or throw the dice. What do the dice say? Or what does your crystal ball say that I should be doing? Does that make sense? Great, good. Yay, so we finished the first. And now we're going on to Nipa. Okay, may I have a reader, please? Thank you, Tin.
Could I read?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Nipa dupa chung wani se ku sok sang potang manpo lachak pame pei dupa chung wadang.
Lovely. Thank you, Darya. It's very nice. So Nipa, we all know, yeah? Two. Oh, so okay, good. We've got the second one. We've got this dung hanging out at the end, which usually means and. So it's like, okay, we got to just like set that aside for the moment. And look for our other markers. Oh, we've got another knee. That's good. So the second one is something about this. Dipachungwa. Okay, cool. Oh, we've got another dong here. So there's maybe two things going on. Say good sotsakpo and mongpo. Oh, we've got this de pachungwa again. Okay, that's interesting. That's showing up twice. And chakpa mepa. So let's look at these words. So the second one is depa chungwa. So does anyone know depa? Here, what we're doing is talking about desire. It can mean to wish or even to think. But here, what we're doing in this text is, this part of the text is we're talking about desire. And then chungwa, because it's got the wa at the end, it's a verb, and it means to reduce or lessen. So we want to lessen desire. Okay, cool. That's the second one. Lessen desire, have few desires. Great. What does it mean? So, se is food. Ge is clothing. And then we've got our friend sok, which means, and all the rest of them, right? So food, clothing, and the rest. Sangpo. Sangpo is like highest quality, best quality. And mangpo. Lots of them. So we've got, okay, we're talking about lots of the highest quality of food and clothing. Oh, that's interesting. What are we going to do about that? We're going to chakpa mepa. We're going to, mepa is something you'll see a lot. So it means there isn't, or yeah, there isn't. And chakpa is, you remember from, if you're going to the mixed nuts, since in Sugong's text, chakpa is attachment. So what this is saying is that the second is reducing desire, which means to not crave large quantities or the highest quality of food and stuff like that, food and clothes and stuff like that. So in preparing ourselves to go on retreat or even to have a meditation, we should reduce our needs. And I put it in air quotes because do we really need the highest quality clothes? Do we really need to have, 2 closets full of clothes and 40 pairs of shoes and things like that? Do we really need to have 49 cans of food in our cupboard? The more stuff we have, the more we have to take care of it. And the more we have to take care of things, the more meditation we miss. We can't do it because we're too busy taking care of our stuff. And the more meditation we miss, the closer we are to just being a person who dies having lived a meaningless life. So to help us, we need to reduce our needs. Really think about what is necessary and have what is necessary. Have a nice place to live, be comfortable. You don't want to have a meditation room that's, too cold or filled with ants or something like that. You need to take care, but just do the necessary, right? Do the necessary and then stop there. Because every extra thing we have in our meditation cabin or in our room is just something that we'll have to take care of, and that wastes time and fills up our mind. And we don't have the space to meditate. So that's the second one. Wow, that was fast. A lot faster than the first one, right? Who would like to be the reader for this one? Janet, I see you looking at the camera intently. Would you like to read? Apparently not. Oh, let's see.
I'm sorry, there are 2 Janets, and I've never
There are 2 Janets.
who you're talking to.
Okay.
All right. Sampa, Trog, She's, Pani, Zag, Zog, So, Nang, Gon, Nam, Rain, Pa, Trog, She's, Pasta.
Great. Thank you so much. When you see, again, when you see these S's, they change how the vowel sounds. We've got a whole bunch of them in this one. So this is shepa, and then se, gu, pe, and shepa again. When you see a D at the end, that cuts it short. So it'd be nye. It's like you just stop, close your throat with your tongue. Nye. So sumpa chushepani, there's our ni. That's our little hint. Se gun ngangun sam nepe chok shepate. There's a te. That means it's going to continue. So somehow we're going to link between this line and what comes next. That's our hint. Okay, so sumpa means, we just had the second one, nipa, and sumpa must be, yay, third. Thank you. Okay, the third one is Chokshepa. Chokshepa is being content or satisfied. Se, good. We just had those, right? Se, good. Does anyone remember? Food and clothing. Very good. Thank you. Now, these may be new words for you. Min, ngun, hard to pronounce together. Yeah, say that 5 times fast. Min, ngun. It means simple or like bare necessities. Sam can mean many different things. It's some sort of amplifier. So we have to see how it fits. Nepa means to find or to get. And then we've got chokshepa again, contentedness, satisfaction. So the third is being happy with or content with what we get, which could be even just, so here's our psalm, just the necessary food and clothing. So, okay, we're happy with what we get, which means we're content with getting whatever it is we get, even if it's just simple food and clothing. But there's more to say about this. Who would like to continue on? Oh, have I scared you all away? So if no one reads, then we're just going to end class now? Being a student means we have to participate. Tin to the rescue. Oh, yeah, he translated into Vietnamese. How about, okay, I'm just going to pick someone. How about Claire? Oh, wait a minute. Anastasia just had her tongue out. So I think I would like her to read.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Đố chú chú sẽ bay bà chiếc mà yun này
No.
đố nã đố yun là chê thầy nô thầy thầy so rú.
When the S is followed by an R, it's silent.
Yes.
Sok sum.
Silent. Luân so kỳ tôn là cái
Yen. That G
yen
is silent. Yen.
yen này thiên chính mi cái
Che.
chê.
So this a little apostrophe here makes this a prenasal. So it's a heavy prenasal here. Ting zin. Like you almost have to change that NG into an NGN. Ting zin. Okay, so we're continuing on. Good, thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for reading. While you're riding in the car, that's great. Okay, so we're still talking about being content, being satisfied. So we're looking for our clues again. We've got a na. And a na can mean if. So we look back ahead and it's like, okay, if this is going on, then something else is going to happen, right? And then we've got down here our verb, mikye. So something doesn't come into being. Something doesn't get born. So chepa means to, oh, let's go on, sorry. Oh, we have this mahjong too. Okay, that's another clue. So if something isn't going on, then something isn't going to happen. So if we're not someone who has few desires, so and if we're happy with what we get, then, in other words, if we're someone who wants a lot and always wants more and isn't satisfied with what they get, never satisfied, which is our typical situation here in the realm of desire. That's like our main problem. So if we're not happy with what we get, then we're going to de yin, we're going to these are desirable objects. We're going to lust after or crave objects that make our senses happy, whether it's like, oh, I love the taste of food and I really want this kind of food. My taste buds have to be happy. Or, oh, I love the feeling of silk on my skin. Oh, I have to have silk or velvet. Or music, like, oh, I love the sound of birds singing, or I love the sound of Mozart's music. I must have only pleasant, wonderful sounds. If we're like really attracted to these sense objects, and all we do is come across or get the bare necessity. Oh, sorry. That we spend our time then being distracted with, and distracted is this dun la ying, is to be distracted to these objects of the senses. And what we do then, because we're so craving them, is that we sok sum, we collect them and we protect them. So it does seem like as soon as we get something, it becomes so important to us that we have to protect it. Like no one else can take it from us. We don't want it to be damaged in any way or to go bad. And we spend a lot of effort on that. Like if you've ever purchased a new car, it's like, oh, my new car. And you're very careful about where you park it. You may even park it way at the end of the parking lot and cover 2 spaces. So there's all this space around it. So no one will open their door and ding your car. Like it's just such a thing. I got to protect this thing. I mean, imagine if you instead just went, I understand about how anything that comes into being, anything that's created by causes is going to die. So the first ding on my car is going to happen. So why be upset? It's going to happen. There's like not it. That's the nature of changing things. Anyway, but we don't think about that. We think about protecting, collecting, and protecting. So then if we're doing that, then Tingzin Mike. Tingzin is Tingzin is short for Tinginzin, which, does anyone know what that means? It's very pertinent to what we're preparing ourselves for. It's one pointed meditation. It doesn't have that word one pointed, but it is meditation. It's deep meditation, is the way that Geshe Michael translates Tingzin. And Mike means it doesn't arise. It doesn't get born. So if we're going to spend all our time collecting things and going after things that make our senses happy, and then we spend all our time protecting them, then we're not going to be able to reach a deep state of meditation. Impossible. So we should be happy with what we get. We should be content. So even if someone gives us a sandwich when the bread is slightly stale, no problem. It's not bad. It's not going to harm us. It's going to actually sustain us, which we need our body to be sustained in order to meditate. So we should be happy about that. We should be content. We should be grateful for all the people that were involved in this sandwich being in existence. They're the farmers who grew the wheat, right? They're the people who maybe came from another country and who came and harvested the wheat, and then there's the people who turned it into grain, and then there's the people who made dough out of that, and then the people who baked that, and then the people who loaded it in a truck and delivered it to the grocery store. I mean, we're talking, oh my gosh, tens of thousands of people who were involved in making this one little sandwich that you have right in front of you that's going to sustain you for your meditation practice. And like, oh my gosh, how wonderful. I'm so grateful that all these people do this work so that I can meditate. And the mind will be a lot happier. And when the mind is happier, not too happy, mind you, but when the mind is happier, then it's much easier to meditate. I mean, it's really a miracle that tens of thousands of people produce this sandwich that you have in your hands. Just have what you need. Be content with what you have. And don't be distracted by things. Let's see if we can do one more. Oh, it's got 2 parts, which we may not be able to do. Well, we can start. Would someone like to read this, please? Rosalia? Rosalia Guzman?
Sí,
Hi.
sí. Hola. Sul, creams, la pala, spear, sul,
Cheer.
creams,
Words together. Cheer.
millotam, Tam. Uh,
Tamche?
Kan Ki Si Yin.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So we've got a la here. That's a sort of indicator that we can look at. We've got a ni. That tells us this means something. And then we've got a yin, which is the verb is. So who knows sultrim? Tin says virtue. It's more like morality or ethics, ethical behavior. And takpa is modifying that. And dakpa is pure. So here we're saying, okay, as for pure morality, cheer, generally speaking, morality or ethical conduct is yunten tamche kishi. It is the shi or foundation of yunten tamche, spiritual qualities or spiritual success, Geshe Michael said. Tamche, all spiritual success. So as in terms of pure morality, generally speaking, ethical conduct is the foundation of all spiritual success. If you are familiar with the 6 practices of a bodhisattva, you know that ethical behavior comes before meditation, that it's not even possible to meditate without having ethical conduct. Because if we're doing things that harm people or ourselves, that's an energy that is, it's bringing unhappiness, unsettledness, dissatisfaction, harm to others and yourself. And the mind is disturbed by that. It actually, it's disturbed. It cannot function well. You can't focus. So ethical conduct is the very foundation. And then next time, Tim will continue on further on to a discussion of ethical practice. Does anyone have any questions? Great. Well, thank you for allowing me to be here. And before I go, I would like you to please think back to the very beginning of class when you thought about why you came here. And now think about what you've done by being here. Own it, and dedicate it towards being able to realize your goals in order to bring your motivation to life. So thank you so much again to Tim, to the live translators. I probably was speaking too quickly, for which I apologize. To the tech team, thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you to Zoom. Thank you to the internet. Thank you to, of course, to Geshe Michael, who who taught these teachings, shared them with us. So have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you next time.
Thank
I
you,
will
Venerable
too.
Paula.
Yeah.
What was that last thing you said? I cut you off.
Oh, no, I just said you won't see me next time, but you will see Tim.
Thank you, Venerable Paula. Thank you for such a beautiful class today and going through. I actually learned a lot today about how to teach Tibetan by watching
really?
you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks for joining us. And thanks everyone for your interest in these courses, because I think this is some of the best things we can do with our lives. And someday you all will be teaching the Lam Rim just like this. Cool. Thank you all very much. And let's say goodbye to Venerable Paula in traditional ACI Tim class fashion.
Thank you.
Vielen Dank. Tschüss.
Vielen Dank.
Спасибо большое.
Дякую дуже. Thank you.
Thank you, dear
Please
Paula.
stay and teach
Thank
us.
you.
Good
Bye-bye.
night. Goodbye.
Later. Bye-bye.
Тим и Утала, спасибо.
Goodbye.
That was amazing. Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you. See you all next week.